I think it's a little bit of an advantage, but I think in those conditions, in the Dome, both these kickers are making one from beyond 55 if need be. So I don't think it's too much of a huge advantage for the Rams, in my opinion.
What's the prop on longest field goal?
I believe it's 46.5, if memory serves me correct.
Well, I like the over there. What's the price?
I'd have to, we have so many props up, Dave. I'm going to have to look and see what the price is on that. But you're right, though. With these two kickers, it just depends on how well these offenses play. If they're able to drive down the field, get inside the 20, get into the red zone frequently, and field goals are short, then that kind of changes it. But these two guys are capable of kicking from anywhere on the field. We have one of the highest totals for, a big game like this on the board. You expect a lot of touchdowns, and I think from our side it's going to be fun. There's so much going on, and that the sounds, the atmosphere, the hype that echo from this department are just contagious throughout all the casinos industry-wide.
Chuck, what's your take on the coaching situation? I mean, we know McVay is the young talent, but, back through Super Bowl history, those first-time teams with first-time coaches, this 2-week distraction is really a negative. And, times have changed, obviously, and these kids grow up in the limelight. And it's not the same as it was 15 years ago, where if you were that first-time Super Bowl team against a team that's played in the last 4 years, it was a huge disadvantage. Do you still consider it that much, or do you think times have and the players have adjusted to the limelight?
Personally, I think times and players have adjusted to the limelight. I think it still can be a distraction, but I think for this game that, I really like Sean McVay's demeanor, and I think his team kind of echoes that. I think you can see the way that they carry themselves. He's a no-nonsense type of guy. He's very intense. He's creative, but in a weird way, I think there's a lot more pressure maybe on the Patriots in this game. The Rams got that call or that non-call against the Saints. Many people don't think they deserve to be here. On the other side of the ball, you've got New England, which, is this Gronk's last game. They lost last year to Philadelphia, where they were the favorite. They've never lost 2 in a row before. Does it end here as they get older, both, Brady and Gronk, Edelman, some of the other key elements on that team? Does it all end against the L.A. Rams, and it all started against the St. Louis Rams? I personally think there's just a little bit more pressure on the Patriots than there is in the Rams in this particular game.
Have you made a personal prediction on the game?
I haven't made a personal prediction. As we've discussed in the past, I'm always happy to root for whoever we need in a game like this. But I do like the Rams a little bit. I think especially at 3, I think there's some value there. I think both these teams are capable of scoring anywhere on the field. And I do think there's a little bit more pressure on the Patriots, as I mentioned. And I think if the Rams can run a little bit, the key for me is Jared Goff. I think he was tied for second in the league in turnovers the second half of the season. If he doesn't turn the ball over, I think the Rams have a real chance to win this game outright.
We compared it to the Super Bowl with the Red Sox and the Dodgers, and the World Series. And I believe when the World Series happened, you got a lot of late money on the Dodgers from those fans coming into town. Do you think the same things happened because of the Rams, or do you think that the fans aren't adjusted to the Rams being their hometown team yet, and you don't have that same type of support?
Early on, guys, I clearly thought that was the case. When the number did get to, say, 2.5 minus 20, and you saw even money on the Rams, you saw a lot of take back there, and the game kind of ping-ponged back and forth. It got to that key number, and then since has gone down from there. I still think you will see a lot of Ram money. I'm not necessarily maybe just from L.A. like you did the Dodgers, but I think just from a bettor's perspective that, all power ratings, for these two teams on a neutral field have the game closer to pick. And I think you look at the styles of these two teams, these two coaches, and as talented as they are, I think just the Patriots being the Patriots, as good as they looked in that game against the Chiefs, I don't think you could make them an underdog in this game. We're always looking to put that number up. That is the ever equalizer that we hope will draw, good, two-way action. And I think that's where it's kind of settled in at this point.
All right. Now, before we get to how you can watch the game at your favorite station's casino's location, let's try and build some people's bankrolls. We'll get the current station's lines on these games for this evening and a little conversation about the matchups as well as we look at some basketball in the MJ Christensen 4-4.
1, 2, 3 into the 4.
Put them fours up. Put the fours up, I said. Do it right now.
Tonight's action is just around the bend, and the guys want to get your night off to a great start.
4.
It's the Las Vegas Sportsline's 4 at 4.
Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4. Unbelievable.
And we begin in Indiana, and the Pacers are going to have to go the rest of the way without Oladipo. That's a big hit to that team, and they're facing the Warriors. So where's the number of this one, Chuck, and can you get any Indiana action?
You know, it's tough. I mean, you look at how well Golden State's starting to play right now, and that is a big loss. I mean, just to the psyche of that team, and they had moved up to, I think, third in the Eastern Conference. That is just a big, big loss. Pacers on the road, I mean, they know how good they are. It's just how much will they have it dialed up. I think in the first half, maybe some value with the Patriots or with Indiana. See where my thoughts are, but awfully tough, guys. Awfully tough.
You know, the Pacers lost their first game to Memphis. I mean, Memphis is as offensively inept as any team, and I think that's the problem tonight. Where do you get your scoring when Bojan Bogdanovic is now your leading scorer at 16 points per game? And then, Golden State's won 10 in a row. All four wins on this. Go to Boston, beat them. And then you add in DeMarcus Cousins, who in 4 games has 14.7 rebounds, 4 assists in 21 minutes per game. So you're just adding him to the mix.
Hey, it's a scary thought, to be honest with you.
It really is. Here's a good matchup. We wouldn't have said that a month, 6 weeks ago, but the Brooklyn Nets have really picked it up, and I guess maybe they're not such a fluke. This is a pretty good-looking basketball team right now. The Celtics, well, they deserve to be the favorite in the game, but I'm not sure this is an easy one for the Celtics as it might have been envisioned a handful of weeks ago. Good matchup between a couple of Eastern Conference teams and a little bit of rivalry action here as well. Nets and Celtics could be a good one tonight.
Well, we know Kyrie's not going to play tonight, and I mean, you look at Brooklyn as you alluded to, Dave. I mean, I think they're 8-2 in their last 10 games, and they've won 6 in a row. They're actually 12-12 away, which is they've played good when they're away as well. So yeah, I think the number's a little bit maybe high, and maybe there is some value on Brooklyn because of that.
Yeah, I think Boston is in a letdown spot, even though they lost that game. And you look at Kyrie went off for 32, and, they gave all their effort in that Golden State game. It was a huge win. For those that want to look at Boston off a home loss, they don't lose many at home. They're very good. They are 3-5 ATS off a home loss the last 2 years. So for those that think, I got to play Boston off a loss, it's by no means an automatic and actually has been a negative. The Big
12 this year, I don't know if they're going to get a Final Four team, but they've got a lot of really good teams. And what that's done is create a lot of really good matchups. And we'll look at a couple of those tonight. Baylor taking on Lon Kruger's Oklahoma Sooners. I think Baylor right now might be the surprise team in this conference because they lost their main inside guy for the season with a knee injury, and they've played better since he went out, strangely enough. This looks like a really exciting game tonight, Chuck.
It is. I think it is a really good game. I think you look at Oklahoma at 15-5 with Kruger. They're always tough to beat there. I thought the number was a little high when it first came out. We'll see how Baylor plays in this game against a really good Oklahoma team.
What's that line sitting at right now?
It's sitting at 6, Dave.
Oh, okay. Went back up a tick then. All right.
Yeah, I had Baylor and Oklahoma State, the worst 2 teams in the Big 12, and Baylor's clearly, I completely agree, has separated themselves. I just don't know if they have enough offense to keep up with Oklahoma. Oklahoma's defense is playing so well, and they just have a few more go-to scorers that I look at for the Sooners tonight.
And we've got a couple of teams that, you could almost say, well, they're not playing quite at the level we thought they would. Doesn't matter. They're both going to be the NCAA tournament at the end of the year, and they're both dangerous teams. And it's a fun matchup tonight, but this is going to be a game with a lot of defensive intensity. TCU and Texas Tech. Where's that number right now, Chuck?
Right now, it's around 4.5, 5. I think this number is going to come down. Personally, I think there's some value with the Horned Frogs here. I think you look at them at 15-4. Although they're not ranked right now, I think this number starts to come down a little bit.
Yeah, TCU allowing 36% on the season. Oof. The Florida game on Saturday, they played the SEC Big 12 turnover. They held Florida to 30.6%, the least under. And you look at Texas Tech. Remember, losses to Iowa State, Baylor, Kansas State, and then they got off the snide. They got a win, but it was a 3-point win against Arkansas. Texas Tech, 2-11-1, their last 14 games.
And we always urge people to make their plans early. That includes Valentine's Day. If you're looking to get a gift, now is the time to get to MJ Christensen. Take advantage of the Valentine's Day sales that are available. Save some money. Get the best selection, the best service as well at MJ Christensen. It's the same with the Super Bowl on Sunday. Hopefully you made your plans early. But for those who haven't yet, give them an idea of what they can do at Sunset Station to try and get themselves a spot to watch the game.
Just get here early. Every seat's on the 50-yard line. There'll be great food and beverage specials. The atmosphere is crazy fun. It's always free and open to the public. Come on over, have some fun, and just enjoy the day. I mean, it's one of those days that, regardless if you're a big bettor or a small bettor, just the atmosphere in our race and sports books are so cool and so much fun. If you haven't experienced it, come on out.
And even if you're there in person, doesn't mean, look, if you want to stand in line, that's okay. But if you've got the app installed, you're all set. You can sit, relax in your seat, bet the props, bet the game, whatever. If you haven't gotten the app installed yet, here's an idea. Get there a little bit early. Open your account with Stations Casinos. Get your STN set up, and you'll enjoy the game even more.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's a big piece of it, guys, is that guests love the atmosphere and love being here with everybody hooting and hollering and cheering and having fun. But there's long lines. We know there's going to be long lines. Everybody knows that, even though all the windows will be open. So if you have the app, you can still enjoy everything else and play from the comfort of that seat right on the 50-yard line.
And for those of you that are in the toss-up, who do I like, I'll tell you what. If you want to wait till you like and decide on betting live betting, there's so much value live betting, just sitting in your seat watching. And if you want to bet a halftime bet, you probably have to line up with 3 or 4 minutes left to go in the half to even get that bet in. You're not going to get it in if you're at the casino. Make sure you have the app to do that, because I've stood in many of those lines and I've actually got shut out a handful of times trying to get a halftime bet in for the second half wager. Without the app, you very well can get shut out.
That's the thing, Chuck. It's 100%. Nobody gets shut out on the app.
Very true. Very true, guys. It's a great thing to have, and we know it's going to be busy, and everyone's going to be, hanging out with their family and friends and enjoying big game parties. Regardless if you're here or away, the app just really brings all the props and the game and the halftime, everything to the palm of your hand.
And one more reminder, because there's so many great stations, casinos, locations around town. If you're coming in from out of town, if we've got listeners right now who are listening online and are going to come into town for the weekend, you can still get the app because you're a Nevada resident as long as you're here. And that means you set up the app on Thursday or Friday when you get in, and then when you're set to go home on Sunday night, just close it out, get your cash, and have a party.
Absolutely. We'll get you signed up in a matter of minutes. Just come on over to any one of our race and sports books, Station Casinos family, and we'll get you signed up. And, again, it's such a cool aspect to have because we know how busy it'll be, really starting probably around on Friday.
Awesome stuff, Chuck. It's always a pleasure. We'll recap it on Monday. We'll do our last Monday afternoon quarterback of the season next Monday, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll talk to you then.
All right, guys. Sounds great. Enjoy the game this weekend, and look forward to recapping with you on Monday.
It'll be a blast.
Thanks,
Chuck Esposito does a great job breaking down the NFL with us. We get down there for most of the season doing the Monday shows from Club Madrid. Once the regular season ends, we come back here to the studios. But getting Chuck's analysis on big football games is just a lot of fun because he breaks them down so well. And, again, terrific locations all throughout the city. If you have not been to Sunset Station, go there. Great restaurants, have a lot of fun. The new Palace Station, by the way, what they did in the refurbishment of that hotel, absolutely amazing. It looks like it's brand new. And it's just tremendous. So pick your stations, the casino's location, and enjoy the game, especially if you're looking for a local flavor. Station Casino is definitely the way to go. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll get you our Joe's Angle of the Day. Try and stay red hot with those. And we'll start to look at some other prop information with Ralph when we come back.
The Las Vegas Sportsline.
Hey, Las Vegas, the first ever DLC loan sale is happening right now. Dollar Loan Loan Center is offering the lowest rates ever in DLC history. Right now until 6 p.m. on January 31st, all new customers will receive 25% off our already low rates for the duration of your loan. If you overspent this holiday season, we're here to help. We've been around over 20 years and have never ran a sale on our loans, so we figured it's about time. New customers receive 25% off our normal rates. And don't worry, current customers, we have your back too with a 10% discount. The loan sale ends at 6 p.m. on January 31st. Get to your nearest DLC location right now or go online and apply for free at don'tbebroke.com.
Licensed by the Nevada Financial Institutions Division. Payment amounts based on biweekly pay frequency with annual percentage rate of 199.99%. Certain limitations may apply. Loans are subject to approval.
Contractor license 0079414.
A heat pump is basically just